There are a ton of do's and don'ts in Apex, but there are some habits that a lot of players get into that can be devastating to their success in-game. What's going on, guys? This is your motivation guy, Keith Allen. So excited to be back. Today, we're going to talk about 25 things that you can avoid to help you win more games. And so, listen, I guarantee that these are some of these that I'm sure a lot of people are guilty of. So let's just get right into this and see which ones. So as we all know, team shots are the best way to down somebody quickly, and that rule doesn't exclude you. And so if you take a fight, guys, or you get caught out too far away from your team for them to quickly help you, it won't take long for an enemy squad to wipe you off the map. And so while you want to be aggressive and looking for opportunities, making sure that these players are always in range of your squad is key to success. Alright guys, so on the playmaking note, it's alright not to always be looking to engage in a fight. Sometimes it's more important to finish looting up or just get that early rotation completed. Just because you can hear nearby teams fighting, I get it, or you see an enemy squad in the distance, it doesn't mean that you have to fight them. And so consider your position in your game and act accordingly. We've all gotten a little too lost in the loot and we pay the price for it. While it's important to make sure that you have the best loadout possible, you can't let that slow you down too much. It's important to get to know every map's loot spawns and get good at the mechanics of looting. So speeding up how quickly you can gain power in a match will have you rotating faster and more prepared for every single fight. So this has got to be one of the most common mistakes that holds players back in the early game. And if you make it a habit to efficiently loot areas and immediately move on, you're going to be faster and more powerful in the early and mid game. Alright, so speaking of looting, another easy trap to fall into is hoarding too much ammo. In the early stages of the game, this is even more noticeable with your smaller bag sizes. But this tip goes for every stage of the game. So having ample space for heals and nades is vital to winning fights. And far too often, players don't pay enough attention to this. And so it's a lot easier to do this if you run 2 automatic weapons. So just try running a shotty or a single shot weapon if you have trouble with this balance. So make the conscious effort to reserve extra slots for other loot on the map, and you definitely are not going to regret it. Alright, so another thing that you're not going to regret is using your ultimate more. It's easy to hold on to these powerful abilities, I get it, trying to find the perfect spot to use them, right? But honestly, we would all win more games if we just used them so much more often. Some of these ults like Octane's Jump Pad or Loba's Black Market have pretty low cooldowns, and all of them are able to be used multiple times in every game. And so the quicker you use your ult, the quicker that cooldown is over and the faster you can use your ult again. Alright guys, so another big mistake that you gotta stop making is not clicking the link in the description to check out the awesome coaching available over at ProGuides.com. Alright, so if you're looking for more help, fixing any of the bad habits mentioned, you definitely gotta check them out because they got you covered. Next up, you gotta stop waiting to move until you feel the ring bearing down on you. Nothing is worse than rotating late and getting stuck between a squad and the storm. So just keep an eye out in that circle and get your squad on the move early. Alright, so another big mistake that you gotta stop making is being stingy about your loadout. While I know it's great, man, to, have those 2 perfect guns every game, most of the time, you're gonna need to settle for a variety of loadouts over the course of your games. And so just because you don't find your Spitfire or R301 off spawn, doesn't mean that you shouldn't commit to a weapon. It's important to find a solid loadout, that you're comfortable with early on in a match and just start gathering those attachments and ammo. You can always transition to something stronger later in the match, so grab what you can and just make it work. Alright guys, so next thing that you gotta quit doing is waiting so long to rotate. Most of the time that you don't really have much of a reason to stay put unless you're in the later stages of the game and already have a good position for the ring. And so if you see you have a way to go for good ring positions, get moving early and just keep up the pace. Get in that good positioning before enemy squads will single-handedly win you fights and more games. It's easy to get caught up in a fight, right? Hear an opponent's armor crack and you just want to push immediately. I get it. While this aggressive playstyle can be rewarded, all too often players push too far ahead on their own in situations like these. And so when you're looking to push, you need to ensure that your teammates are nearby, not healing, and just ready to back you up. Otherwise, you might as well be in a 1v3, and usually that doesn't really go too well. On the subject of overpushing, it's important not to get baited by your teammates falling prey to this. While you want to make sure that you are in position to help them when they need it, if they get caught too far out of position, it's not worth the entire squad getting killed for one member's misplay. So be ready to help the squad stay alive, guys, but don't lose the match trying to save someone. And on the flip side, alright, don't be that teammate that is getting caught out all the time. While getting a good flank or just splitting off for good loot can be beneficial, you can't be getting singled out away from your team. Nothing is worse than having a squad mate that just does their own thing and just dies because of it, so do not be that guy. Alright, another thing that you want to avoid when rotating is going too far in the middle zone. While you want to have good ring position, just try to hug the outer boundaries as you make your way in. It's just far too easy to be third-partied if you're just sitting in the center of the circle as all the other enemy squads are rotating in. So if there is a storm behind you, there probably aren't enemies. So use the zone as protection to keep you from having to watch all directions. And please, just stop shooting at other squads, alright? While there is a time and place to take fights, and getting extra damage off can definitely help you charge your Evo shields, constantly throwing down shots attracts a lot of attention. And so the next time you see an enemy squad in the distance and they haven't seen you, maybe it's better just to keep it that way. PSA, hold more grenades. They're the most powerful piece of loot in the right hands, so reserve some slots in your backpack. Alright, so the next one gets talked about a lot, but everyone continues to love hot dropping. While it can be fun, it's not the best way to win games. So if you're looking to have a good early start to set yourself up for success, quit dropping to the same highly contested locations every game and, try out some less contested ones. And try out some less contested areas. While the highly contested areas may have some of the best loot, risking your life for it every game just isn't worth it. Okay, so while we're talking about dropping, mix up your drop locations. Even if you aren't one of the hot droppers, it's easy to get caught up dropping to the same couple locations every game. And so while dropping to the same locations will definitely give you guys a lot of reps in those spots, mixing up where you start each game based on the dropship path will keep your games from feeling stale and keep you from getting into a rut with the same old drop plan. Another thing that you should avoid is playing the same legend. Look, I understand. We all have that one character that we just always want to play, and we're pretty darn good at them. But you should really get some reps in on other options to fully understand their kits. And on top of this, playing a match here and there on the other picks keeps the game fresh. Seriously, the game has a lot of fun to offer outside of what we naturally gravitate towards for comfort, so just don't be afraid to have some chill matches with the new pick, alright? Speaking of cooling off, you gotta avoid playing long play sessions without breaks. I'm not saying that you can't grind, just make sure that you're drinking enough water and take breathers here and there. Taking 5 minutes to take a walk or grab a snack after a couple of bad games can really help turn things around. Don't sleep on how much winning in Apex is actually a mental game, so keep your head in the right place with good practices. Alright guys, so another good practice, put them weapons away when you're running. This is one of the oldest tips in the book, but so many players need to quit keeping their guns out so much. Okay, so the bonus movement speed that you get with them away can be huge when rotating or trying to perform advanced movement. Obviously, you don't want to get caught wanting to shoot with nothing but your fist out, so just be smart about it. But if you get good about quickly switching back and forth, you're going to be moving a lot faster. Alright, so this next one we've all fallen prey to, and that's taking too little heals. So often in later stages of the game, people run low on meds and it costs them the victory. And so having a good supply of shield cells, batteries, and white heals will literally win you games. Being able to heal through long gunfights is often a requirement to win matches, and getting stuck without these heals can mean game over. So carve out that extra back slot for shield, and don't forget to take white heals for that zone damage and close fights. Speaking of heals, alright, make sure that you're valuing shield cells at all points of the game. That are great at regenerating low level shields early game, but where they really shine is when you give yourself a little boost of shield quickly in a fight. They have such a quick activation time that they can be weaved into gunfights easily and really give you a health advantage. Okay, so while on the topic of cells, quit taking so many batteries and bring some more cells. It's totally fine to take more than one stack of cells, as bats can be hard to get off in fights. Bats are great, but they require a lot of downtime to be popped. So start mixing up your shields that you hold, and I guarantee adding variety is going to give you more options throughout the game. Alright, so speaking of more options throughout the game, it's so important to be fluid in your game plan. And so we preach practice and preparation a lot on this channel, but the bottom line, guys, is that there are going to be a ton of situations in the game that require you to make on-the-fly decisions that aren't according to plan. And so being able to take in the info around you and just change up your rotation or game plan is key to winning games. So stop doing that same 3 POI rotation every single game and just try adjusting each game a bit to see if you can just have some better results. The more dynamic you can be, the better the results are going to be. And lastly, quit hopping right into ranked. For the sake of your RP and your mental, get into the firing range and warm up, and maybe even throw a normal match or two in there. Being properly warmed up and in the right mindset is going to help you have so much more success. and losing your first game just because you aren't fully ready to go isn't the way you want to start a session. And that's number 25 on our list of things to avoid. Okay, so while not all of these apply to all of us, I know at least a couple apply to me, and I'm sure some do for you as well. And so if you take even one of these tips and you add it to your gameplay, it's gonna help you win more games. I know there are a ton of more we missed, so if you have any good tips that we didn't touch in this video, be sure to let us know in the comments section. Hey, if you guys liked the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Once again, this is your motivation guy, Keith Allen. You can connect to me on my Instagram if you want, at your motivation guy. Hey, we believe in you guys. We're so proud of you. Keep going, never give up, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.